To give you an experience about their experience, we have somebody from Zepto who's the VP of Growth, Sayan Sahab. Could you please join us on stage?
Hey everyone, glad to be part of MWC and getting a lovely chance to meet all of you. Right. So what I'll do is over the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll just give you a glimpse in terms of how we at Zepto have used Tanla and Carix's amazing capabilities to supercharge our growth. Right. So before I begin, I'll just take 30 seconds to perhaps introduce Zepto to all of you. So we are a quick commerce company currently valued at $1.5 billion. We typically do 500,000 transactions a day, right? And all of this in just 2.5 years of existence, right? So how does growth work at Zepto, right? So typically, I think the greatest part about our business model is our week-on-week retention in terms of users who transact with us in week one. 70% of them kind of come back and transact with us again the next week, right? So from that perspective, the growth mantra is very, very simple, right? We acquire new users, make sure that new users graduate into mature users in a month or so, right? And then ensure that, let's say, lapsed users come back onto the platform, and the rest of the active users, the magic is just in the consumer experience, right? So if I now come to in terms of how we have leveraged, let's say, WhatsApp, RCS, SMS, right? So we typically use paid CRM channels for 3 major themes, right? One would be events, right? The example that you see here, right, is something that we did on Karwa Chauth, which is like an auspicious event where female, let's say female married women pray for the well-being of their male partners, right? So essentially one is events, right, where we kind of let our consumers know about the different offers, about the different kinds of special propositions that we have for them, right? Second is branding, where primarily what we do is, like, for example, this Christmas, right, all our delivery people were dressed up as Santa Clauses, right? So kind of use these channels to create that buzz and that customer recall as such, right? And third is performance, right? Like, as I said, a lot of our business is driven by early life cycle users as well as lapsed users as such, right? So how do we leverage, let's say, the different channels to ensure that we are able to get them to order more, right? Next slide, please. Okay. So I'll just spend a couple of minutes talking through how, like, what's the framework that we use, right, when we evaluate any content or any message that goes out from us to the consumers, right? So typically 3 or 4 different parameters, right? One, obviously CTRs are there, and then we look at top funnel matrices such as traffic uplift, bottom funnel matrices such as order uplift, and then something what we call as CPIO, which is cost per incremental order as such, right? So from our perspective, what we do, right? Every campaign that we do will have anywhere between 8 to 10% randomized control group, and then to time gate, let's say the campaign, you run a campaign, you observe the outcomes for the next, let's say, 3 hours, 4 hours, depending upon the channel, right? And then you can measure each and every campaign in terms of its efficiency, right? So from that perspective, once you have that framework set up, then every channel kind of goes through that framework, right? And essentially, then it's an iterative process, right? Then you get those learnings that what kind of cohorts react to what type of messages, what time of the day, etc., right? Cool. So as I said, right? So standing as of today, right? Approximately 5 to 6% of our daily orders, right, are incremental from either one of these channels, like WhatsApp, RCS, or SMS, right? So I think that's a huge value add that has happened to our business over the last, let's say, 6 to 12 months, right? Where we have really understood, thanks to Carix's capabilities and the team that we work closely with, we've really been able to understand how we can use this to supercharge our growth, right? So few of the use cases that we use, let's say, these channels for, right? One, as I said, acquisition, right? Now, it might be a little perplexing that, hey, acquisition is typically driven by Google Media campaigns, Meta Media campaigns. How do you guys use WhatsApp, right, for acquisition, right? So approximately, if I have 100 users who have ever transacted with Zepto, I'll have 70 more users who would have registered on the app but never transacted. This is what we call as registered but not bought customers, right? And we have realized over time after doing a lot of experiments that actually WhatsApp is one of the best channels to kind of get them to do the first transaction, right? So once they have come to the platform, they did not experience you for whatever reason, you have a time gate, and post that kind of run campaigns where you talk to them about either the special offers that they have on the platform or certain events, right, that we have on the platform, right? And then kind of get them to do the first transaction on the app, right? Second, early life cycle, right? So a very interesting fact. So users who get acquired, right? If we get them to do the 5th transaction with us, there is like a 80-85% probability that they will transact each month with us till like eternity. Like we obviously have just 2.5 years of data, but that's what it says, right? So we run a lot of campaigns to ensure faster graduation of users so that we can get more and more people to do the 5th transaction with us in the first month of registration as such, right? So that really enhances our consumer base, which has like ripple effects on frequency and the overall scale of the business as such, right? And the last use case, reactivation. As I said, right, approximately 70% of the users transact week on week, right? But still, what about the remaining 30%? Like, what do we do about them, right? So we define lapsed users as users who have not transacted with us for 30 days. And then we run differentiated campaigns for them, right, in terms of getting them back onto the platform, either through offers. I think what is distinctively like different between point like acquisition or life cycle and reactivation. So for reactivation, you actually have a lot of consumer data. You know what they have bought, what they have searched for, right? So you can tweak your campaigns accordingly. Well, let's say today I have, let's say, an offer running on fruits and vegetables, right? I'll be able to segment that, hey, which are my lapsed users and which of them like actually used to transact in fruits and vegetables, or let's say had displayed intent, right? So that powered with an always on offer for that segment of users makes the conversation and the campaigns much more effective, right? So yeah, that's my 2 cents in terms of how WhatsApp and other channels have really helped us scale. Happy to take some questions either now or I'll be here for the next 2 days. So yeah, thank you.
How can brands connect with customers in the most efficient and meaningful way? The answer is simple. Be where they prefer, how they prefer. With an omni-channel approach, whether customers are on WhatsApp, RCS or SMS. That's what Zepto, a growing quick commerce pioneer, did in partnership with Carrix. They did not flood customer mobiles with countless meaningless messages in one inbox. Instead, they chose different channels for targeted and relevant communications. Carousels on WhatsApp and RCS for promotions, lead gen, order management and transactions. SMS for promotions, reminders, authentication, and OTPs. The results demonstrate Zepto's transformed customer engagements and interaction landscape. An astounding 240 million messages on WhatsApp, followed by 168 million promotional messages via SMS, 7 million app login OTPs, and 4.7 million messages on RCS.
Hi, my name is Karishma Kotian and I'm the Director of Retention Marketing at Zepto, which is a quick commerce delivery app in India. We onboarded Carrix around a year ago when we started to witness some delivery issues in WhatsApp. Our average delivery rates in WhatsApp started to dwindle at around 40 to 50%. Post onboarding Carrix, we have managed to increase it to around an average of 70 to 80% right now. Carrix in general has a very strong customer support system, and they've been extremely quick in their response time when it comes to solving any kind of issues which is pertaining to integration, implementations, or any kind of delivery issues. And we've had a great time, especially with the services which they provide. Apart from that, we've also started using RCS as a tool, which we've gotten introduced by Carrix for the first time. It's been about a month since we've been using them. And we've seen that around 30 to 40% of our base is reachable via RCS, and it gives us around 50% incremental traffic compared to WhatsApp. It's a great channel to explore for brands specifically, especially when you want to find an alternative to WhatsApp, which is a little more cheaper alternative. All in all, I think our experience with Carrots has been great, and we hope to have a continuous and long-term relationship with them. Thank you.
The result? A new era in enterprise communications, setting a benchmark in scale and outreach for maximum customer engagement. The future of omni-channel marketing. Your brand can be next. Discover the power of omni-channel communication with Carrix.
So thank you, Karishma. She's right here with us. All right, let's move ahead. I now call upon Shreya Roy. She heads Nykaa's growth and user retention.
Hi, so Leon has already introduced me. I'm Shreya, and I've worked with Nykaa for about 7.5 years. Joined them pretty early on, and I lead user retention now. And for the uninitiated, I'll take about 30 seconds to introduce Nykaa. Nykaa is India's largest beauty platform, and that includes digital e-commerce as well as offline. And it's actually one of the very few e-commerce platforms in India that is a listed entity. I take a bit of pride in stating the fact that in a country where most of the purse strings are held by men, Nykaa's user base, the composition of Nykaa's user base is 80 or 85% plus women. And Nykaa has played a pivotal role in introducing a lot of premium and international brands and built accessibility for a lot of women today in India. So Nykaa's success is based on 3 C's primarily: content, the curation, and convenience. So in a space where so Nykaa indexes very heavily on education, and in a place where we have about 500,000 products listed on our app, what is key is to ease out the discovery journey and give our customers access to the right kind of products, and make it easier for them to convert. And that's where we are combining the power of personalization and the strength of delivery that comes from WhatsApp and the unique ways in which it delivers its messages. And that's essentially the value proposition that, that's the gist of the case study per se. What we are, although using WhatsApp for, is to drive incremental reach. And we are also optimizing for the efficiency of the reach at a full marketing stack level and not just for, a particular channel. It's the way that we see WhatsApp, RCS, SMS, or any kind of paid owned media is that it is a part of the entire marketing stack, including the monies that we spend on Facebook, Google, any kind of retargeting. And then we try and find out the most efficient and effective ways of reaching out to our customers. So what is the solution when it comes to implementation that we've done is we've integrated WhatsApp with all of our MarTech tools to actually find opportunities for incremental reach. And we've integrated WhatsApp with our audience manager to deploy multiple points of personalization within a message. That's a really small video on how how we sort of ease out the journey and take a user from multiple points within a message. Okay, so this is broadly a paid media efficiency framework, which I said delivers 3 things, right? So we integrate WhatsApp into the overall stack to increase the overall reach, optimize the frequency of that reach by user cohorts, and hence improving the overall marketing spend percentage. So what we are using WhatsApp for is incremental reach and the uniqueness of that reach defined by what is a differentiated format in which that we can reach out to our engaged customers to actually further increase their engagement. And through that, we are delivering experience, personalization, any kind of incentivization, which essentially leads to conversion, the KPIs of which are incremental traffic, order attribution, and impact on overall spend percentage. And that's what the impact that we've seen right now. We're looking at about 6 million incremental traffic at a quarterly level, which is actually increasing at a 150+% CAGR. And today, 7% of our order share comes from WhatsApp, RCS, and SMS, which is great because, add to that, app notifications, etc. So we are doing upwards of about 18 to 20% of any kind of order share and visits coming from own channels. And we've seen about an 8% improvement in marketing spend percentage right from over the last year that we've implemented these channels. Broadly, when we look at, I was talking about incremental reach and optimizing on frequency by user cohorts. This is essentially what we're doing. We've split it's a very simplistic format of what we are doing right now, but it's a split of our entire user base into a broad 2x2 matrix where we have defined what reach and engagement is. So reach is a customer reachable by owned and unpaid media channels. And engagement is defined by their purchase behavior. So if there is a user who is high on engagement and is highly reachable, what we are leveraging WhatsApp for is a very differentiated kind of format where we are able to deliver cheat sheets, and a very long format of offers that are totally personalized at a user level and what this particular user will tend to interact with. And in fact, for cheat sheets, what we've seen is we've actually delivered cheat sheets at about 2% spend percentage, and which is unheard of on WhatsApp. So that has worked very well for us. I think but this is actually an example of wherever we have high engagement but low reach. So some of our best customers who've, probably switched off connecting with us and will have a tendency to lapse. So that's where we use WhatsApp to drive incremental reach, because a phone number today in India is actually quite easy to get. Everybody has to register and validate their registration with a phone number these days. So that's why we're using WhatsApp to drive incremental reach and shorten the conversion cycle. So here we have, so here is an example of what we are doing is we have name personalization. We are actually looking at what are the products that are there in their cart, cumulatively how many people are actually looking at it. The algorithm that sends these campaigns sort of calculates it by itself. And then these are, of course, certain like the product name, any kind of incentivization, etc. All of that is sort of personalized and inputted into the communication. So we actually have about 4 or 5 elements of communication which are personalized, and that's how we deliver a very high conversion rate. And we saw some of the results earlier. And I think in the interest of time, that's where I stop and I turn to the other two. Thank you. I hope it was a bit of a value add.